We don't really back down from challenges.
Deep right field, off the bat of Kwan, Judge to the wall, and it's gone. Guardians on the board first. Bader may change the scoreboard. This is into the seats.
Answering back kind of shifts momentum.
High drive to right, to the wall. It's out of here. 4-1 New York.
There's ups and downs.
We're going to have to do the little things right to win ball games.
So just keep grinding.
Well, it's been a while since that game one on Tuesday night. Rare scheduled off day on Wednesday between games 1 and 2 of the division series. Then some lousy weather on Thursday night, last night. Forced this into an afternoon game, but we couldn't ask for more. Absolutely beautiful 62-degree day. October baseball in the afternoon. It just feels right. As we welcome you to ALDS Game 2 from Yankee Stadium, the Guardians, they probably have a gardener somewhere. They're going to take care of the turf. The Guardians and the Yankees from Yankee Stadium on TBS. Let me get this straight. This is Ron Darling.
Yes.
I'm Bob Costas. Okay, the Guardians have won 2 of 3 postseason games, but they have scored only 4 runs and have only 19 hits. And since one of those games went 15 innings, that's 19 hits and 4 runs in 33 innings for them.
Well, they had a nice sign, though, in Game 1. Their table setter, Stephen Kwan, they didn't know what to expect when they came out of spring training, but he had an early 5-hit game in April. It was his 117th pitch before he swung and missed in the major leagues. He hit the ball hard 3 times in Game 1, including their only run, a home run, and a single to left. But he's going to have some help from the rest of that lineup. They've been doing some things they haven't done all season long. Strikeout and not hit with runners in scoring position. That's been the difference for the Guardians.
Shane Bieber gets the ball for Cleveland. Brilliant in their Game 1 victory in the wild card series against Tampa. 7 2/3 innings. He got the victory. Now let's turn our attention to the Yankees. Nestor Cortez, the everyman surprise all-star, 12-4 for the year, pitched twice this year against the Guardians. The Yankees won both games. One was a no decision, another was a win for Cortez. Like all of his fellow New York pitchers, he has benefited greatly this year from the improved Yankee defense.
It's been the most improved thing that has happened to this Yankee team from last year's team. It's been youngsters like Cabrera, an infielder that's come up and made great plays. 2 big double plays in last night's game was a difference maker. Ramirez was on deck after that double play to Rosario. The veteran Donaldson made some wonderful plays, and Rizzo with the 4 Gold Gloves with the great pick. That has been something that has changed completely for this Yankee team. That's why they're here.
Change in the schedule now presents the possibility of 4 games in 4 days. That's nothing during the regular season, but it's a bit odd during the postseason, especially because there could be 2 travel days involved. With more on that, here's Lauren Shahade.
Yeah, Bob, both teams talking strategy because of it. I spoke with Aaron Boone. He said we need major length out of our starters and that everyone is available out of the pen. There was hesitation initially about using Clay Holmes too much just because he's coming off injury, but that is no more. Aaron told me today he is back. He is ready for anything. Terry Francona kind of chuckled when I mentioned the schedule. He said, we're ball players. That's what we do. We played 27 in a row this year. He did say this likely takes Shane Bieber out of the picture for a potential Game 5. He wants to protect his young ace. So Game 2 is his, and that will be it. Bieber, the former Cy Young winner, nasty Nestor Cortez for the home team. Game 2 coming up from the Bronx. First pitch next on TBS.
Only at Carl's Jr. in Hardee's.
October baseball historically is almost a given in the Bronx, but these days most of those games are at night. Kind of refreshing to show up at the ballpark on a day like this. Takes you back to when you were a kid.
Oh, I remember coming back from school and watching the Orioles, whoever was in the World Series, seeing those shadows, but able to see the last few innings after school.
Stephen Kahn getting set to lead it off. Kwan had 2 hits, as Ron Darling told you during our opening, including a home run off Garrett Cole in Game 1, but that was the only run that the Guardians managed. In addition to the fact that, as we mentioned, they've scored only 4 runs and managed only 19 hits through 33 innings so far in this postseason. They have 35 strikeouts and only 4 walks in those games.
So whenever you watch Nestor Cortez pitch, you feel like you want to have fun. So I'm going to call him the humble hurler from Hialeah. But Nestor
Nice
Cortes,
alliteration.
do not sleep on his stuff. His fastball plays up. He's got an excellent cutter, curveball. He can spin for a strike at any time. He is an accomplished pitcher coming off a big year. And we just talked about the defense in the opening. Same cast of characters in the infield. It starts with Jose Trevino, who's had an outstanding year at the bat and behind the plate. And the outfield we saw with Bader cutting off a double from Ramirez, making sure Rosario didn't score. Cabrera with that great catch, and Aaron Judge, as tall as the fence in right field.
Cortes just about set to go. Stephen Kwan into the batter's box. He had 298 for the year. Only 6 home runs, but had one on Tuesday night here at Yankee Stadium. Pushes a bunt to the right side, sprints for first, and it's a leadoff hit.
Well, Cleveland really sets the tone here. We talked to Terry Francona before the game. He said Kwan and Miles Straw would try to bunt for base hits. He didn't know it was going to come on the first pitch of the game, but that sets a nice tone for the Guardians, who have been struggling to get on base. Kwan gets on base immediately.
Not a drag bunt. He purposely pushed it toward the second baseman Torres, who was playing very deep.
Whenever you're facing a left-handed pitcher, you want to bring that bunt with you. Why? Left-hander, when they follow through to third base. It's hard for them to get over to make the play.
And as Francona told us, with that defensive alignment, you get it past the pitcher, you're going to beat it out. Kwan stole 19 bases and was caught 5 times during the regular season. Easy toss over. Kwan back easily. Cortes to Rosario, who swings and misses.
You know, with Nestor, Bob, you get the full package. A guy who has a pretty good move to first, but if you saw that, the slide step home, which really stops Kwan from even thinking of having an idea of stealing second.
We know that his various arm angles can befuddle hitters. How difficult is it for a potential base stealer to read him?
I think it's just as difficult because of the different moves he presents to you at first base.
Bounced foul, and the count holds at 0-2. The plate umpire is Jeremy Rehak, a newcomer to the postseason. Dan Iasonia is the crew chief. He's at first. Will Little at second. Alan Porter at third. Jordan Baker right field line. Mark Reppinger left field line.
You know, Bob, in a day where velocity always wins over pitchability, it's so fun to be able to see a guy like Cortes who has improvisation and artistry, whether he's throwing the ball to the plate or trying to hold a runner at first.
Poke toward the hole and through for a base hit. Kwan will stop at second base. Bunt single, opposite field single, 2 on, nobody out.
I mean, after 2 batters, this feels like the Cleveland Guardians again, who have scored all their runs in the postseason on home runs. But this is the kind of nickel and dime they will give you or approach at times. The bunt base hit, the hit the other way from a guy who had 180 hits in the regular season, Rosario.
They had nearly 300 more base hits than strikeouts this year, which is a rarity in Major League Baseball these days. They start with 2 base hits before anyone is retired. And here's their big gun, Jose Ramirez. Swings on the first pitch and lofts a fly ball into shallow left center. In comes Cabrera to squeeze it for the first out.
Well, it was interesting to see Ramirez swing at the breaking ball first pitch. He must have been looking for that pitch. Usually Ramirez, first time up, if he caught something spinning, he'd probably take it.
With that at bat by Ramirez, the Guardians are now 0 for 13 in this postseason with runners in scoring position. Now it's up to Oscar Gonzalez, hero of Game 2, which completed the brief sweep of the Rays with a 15th inning game-winning home run off Corey Kluber.
I really like the approach of Rosario, Bob. I think that's one of the things you can do to combat all the great pitching of Nestor Cortes, that you have to at some point be going the other way. Gonzalez has power to hit the ball out the other way.
Big cut and a miss, a ball and a strike. And the 1-1 from Cortes. Caught by Rizzo, who'll step on the bag, and that is that. Just like that. A budding rally is cut short. Frustration for the Guardians. Yanks come up, no score after half an inning. Aaron Boone penciled the same 9 names into the batting order. Only changes, he moved Donaldson up from 6th to 5th and Cabrera down from 5 to 6. Aaron Judge 0 for 3 with a walk. All 3 times he was retired in Game 1, he struck out. 1 for 8 in his career against Bieber. The 1 was a home run in a wild card game in 2020. Bieber's 1-1 pitch to Judge. Swing and a miss.
That was the cutter from Bieber. Terry Francona said if he's got that pitch working early, landing that pitch is the big difference maker for Shane Bieber. Cy Young Award winner in 2020. Spins the baseball as well as anyone in the game.
Returned to that Cy Young form in the latter part of this season. And Judge still searching for something here. He struck out 4 times in this series.
Set up with a cutter that he swung through, and then this breaking ball. Bieber has the great ability to throw and spin one in for a strike, and then when he needs to strike out, to make it appear like a strike and bends it out of the strike zone.
In truth, when Judge was pursuing first Ruth and then Maris and got to 62, ball 1 to Rizzo. He was actually slumping a little bit toward the end, and that's carried over. It's a very small sample, just 1 game and 1 at bat in the second game, but he doesn't quite seem to be himself at this point.
The big difference maker for him all season long, Bob, is he did not chase pitches out of the strike zone. That's what he's been doing in the first couple of games.
And seldom missed mistakes, but he has been fouling off or swinging through some mistakes in the latter portions of the regular season and now the first 2 games of the postseason for the Yankees.
Well, Rizzo didn't miss a mistake in Game 1.
Took Cal Quantrill deep with a 2-run homer. That finished off the scoring in the game as the Yankees won it 4-1. Harrison Bader had his first Yankee home run in Game 1. Foul ball. Bader, by his own account, when asked how many family and friends were in attendance for Game 1, he said into the triple digits. Wow. From Bronxville, New York. His dad was a big Yankee fan. He was happy in St. Louis. It's a great baseball town, but certainly not unhappy to be wearing pinstripes. Closer to thrilled about it all.
Went to school at Horace Mann in the Bronx. That was for Robert Klein.
I'll explain. The 2-2 pitch is lined to left, and Kwan is right there.
Well, it's a very mobile and very quick defense when you look at this Guardians defense, but up the middle, they're going to make some magical plays. They did all season long. You might see some here in the postseason. And their outfield, very fast, covers a lot of ground. 17 defensive runs saved by Straw in center field. 9 outfield assists by Kwon in left, Gonzalez in right field.
Gleyber Torres now with 2 out and nobody on. Takes a ball. 0 for 3 in game 1. 3 for 6 lifetime with a homer against Bieber. Okay, so the great comedian Robert Klein, Yankee fan, watching game 1, you said something about Bader. He offered a friendly correction.
He did. I said Horace Mann was in Bronxville. He said it's in the Bronx. Come on.
Important distinction.
Oh, big time.
Check down at first. He went around.
Just think how Bieber feels here, Bob. His last start in the postseason against the Yankees, he really got beat up in that World Card Series in Cleveland. He's looking for some redemption against this team this afternoon.
Yeah, he lasted just 4 2/3 innings, gave up 7 runs, and lost that first game of the Wild Card Series in 2020. This one is served into right field for a 2-out hit. In that abbreviated, well, let's take a look at this swing and the base hit first.
Yeah, nice swinging, nice job by Torres there with just a half swing, certainly on the pitch that Bieber threw to Judge. Was trying to throw that same pitch to Torres.
In that abbreviated 2020 season, Bieber went 8-1 in 12 starts and had an ERA of 1.63 and won the Cy Young Award, but it didn't go well for him in his only postseason start. The Yankees knocked him around. Giancarlo Stanton 0 for 2 with a walk in game 1. Two and 0.
You know, it never has mattered what kind of regular season Stanton has had for what he does in the postseason. 66 at-bats, 9 home runs from the slugger.
Bieber's 2-0 pitch to him. Swing and a miss. Coming off that Cy Young season of 2020, Bieber managed just 16 starts in 2021 because of shoulder issues. And he started this season rather slowly. In late July, he was 4-6. His ERA was 3.5. But then he refound his form to finish at 13-8 with an ERA under 3. The 2-1 pitch is off the outside corner.
Well, when he was 2-0, he chose to throw that cut fastball. Got back in the count. Let's see what he'll use here against Stanton here in the first. 3-1 count.
Josh Donaldson is on deck.
Woo!
Stanton thought he had the walk. His body language tells you everything. Jeremy Rehak can't be happy with that. Showing him up in front of the crowd. Full count.
And Stanton might be right. Curveball just off the zone. Not even just off. It was way off the zone. And this Yankee dugout is probably one of the more demonstrative when it comes to talking to the umpire during a ball game.
First time Rehak has ever worked the plate in a postseason game. Torres will be off on the pitch. A drive to deep right field. This ball is gone. And now Stanton is more than pleased that he didn't draw the walk. happy flashback for Francona, Bieber, and the Guardians, just as they did against Bieber a couple of years ago in October. They jump on him in the first inning. A little tap to the left side. Here's Ramirez. He throws Donaldson out, but some damage has been done. 2-out single by Torres. Opposite field homer from Stanton after one. 2-0 New York. Nestor Cortes Jr., the surprise all-star with the everyman appeal. 27 years old, 5'11" and 210. Born in Cuba, but his parents moved the family to Florida when he was just 7 months old. Knocked around, 36th round draft pick by the Yankees in 2013. They sent him to Baltimore for a while. Baltimore had little use for him. Yankees had him back, dealt him to the Mariners for, quote, future considerations, which often means cab fare. Then he comes back to the Yankees. Little tap right back to him. He fields and throws to Rizzo, and Josh Taylor is retired to start the Guardians second. So he comes back to the Yankees and began to show some signs last year. 14 starts, ERA under 3, and then this year he blossoms into an all-star. 12-4, ERA 2.44.
Well, in his Yankee career now, Bob, he's 19-8, ERA 3.25. He's had an immaculate inning. He was all-star pitcher. He took a no-hitter into the 8th. A magical year for Nestor.
With the left-hander on the mound, Owen Miller becomes part of the starting lineup in the DH spot. Had a pinch hit at bat last night and was hit by a pitch. Lauren Shahadi has more on Nestor Cortes Jr.
Bob, I asked Nestor about his trickery. I said, how many different versions of the shimmy do you have? He said, infinity. I never do the safe movement twice because hitting is all about rhythm and timing, right? And my only goal is to throw that off. He said, as long as I can get to my most powerful position with all my weight on my back leg, as long as I'm balanced in that moment, I can throw a competitive pitch.
Of late, he's been even better than his overall season mark. His last loss came in mid-August. Since then, in 6 starts, 3-0, ERA 1.35. The Yankees won 5 of those half-dozen starts. Foul to the seats.
Which was, Bob, was really interesting to see because last season, career high 93 innings, jumped all the way to 158 in the 3rd innings. Where would he be at the end of the season? Better than ever.
And Miller goes down swinging. First strikeout of the afternoon for Cortes.
Cortes hides the ball so well. His spin rate on his fastball is good. This is a cut fastball up in the strike zone that he's used a few times already in this game. Don't sleep on his stuff. It's all top rate.
He had 2 starts this year against Cleveland. Yankees won them both. A victory and a no decision for Cortes. Think about the first inning. The first 2 Guardians reach. Seems like they have something going. Then it's snuffed out. Line drive double play ends the inning abruptly. First 2 Yankees are retired. Soft single to right by Torres. Opposite field homer by Stanton. Quite a turn of events and not exactly what Terry Francona was looking for. It's unlikely that Stanton will play the field at all in this postseason. He'll be DHing. And effectively so far this afternoon.
Greatest ball called a strike for Stanton this postseason.
Thought he had a walk on a 2-2 pitch. Rahak called him back. Next pitch, he put it in the seats. So now you wonder, is a guy studying that video to pick up some valuable info, or is he just sort of relishing the home run he hit?
I'd be doing the latter.
And now it's Jimenez who's unhappy with the plate umpire.
Good fastball right on the corner.
Well, there was called a strike with a 3-1 pitch, actually. A happier reaction when the next one wound up in the right field seats. Cabrera starts it for the Yankees in the bottom of the second, and he's quickly thrown out. What you just saw was the TBS Total Motion presentation presented by Progressive, or something like that. The book on Bieber, or at least part of the book, excellent command, doesn't walk many, can get hurt when he misses up in the zone. That's what happened against Stanton.
He's trying to dot that outside corner on the knees and just left it up enough.
Although that's not unique to him. You miss up in the zone, a lot of guys get hurt. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Base hit to right. It brings up the catcher, Jose Trevino. Terry Francona has multiple concerns. One, does Bieber have it today? Two, can my offense put any runs on the board? 2-0 early certainly isn't insurmountable. But when you've been unable to score the way they have, it's a larger concern than it otherwise would be.
Yeah, it's definitely a thought in the back of his mind. Kiner-Falefa in game one had that big hit down the right field line that eluded Oscar Gonzalez. Came to score the second run on the sacrifice fly from Trevino. Big part of that ball game.
He's running. The throw not nearly in time, and it skips into center field. Kiner-Falefa hesitated. He actually could have made third. It went into shallow center. That caused the hesitation. But the Guardians weren't quick to pick it up, and he could have made third base.
Well, not a good throw here from Hedges up the line, similar to the throw he had in yesterday's game against Judge. He ended up getting an error because Judge proceeded to third. Kiner-Falefa could have done that, but he couldn't identify where the ball was. Hedges now 9 for his last 54, throwing out would-be base runners, base stealers.
Kiner-Falefa at least saved him an error by not taking third. Hit to third, Ramirez. Throws Trevino out. And here's a guy quickly becoming a fan favorite. Local boy making good, Harrison Bader. The third inning really was the story of the game. Kwan had homered off Cole to make it 1-0. Rosario was at first. Ramirez doubled into left center field. Most center fielders would not have cut that off. It would have gone to the wall. Bader cut it off, held the runners at second and third. Cole made some good pitches. There was only one out. He got out of the inning with only 1 run scoring, and then in the bottom of the inning, Bader tied it with a home run of his own. That one inning really put Harrison Bader's name in the headlines.
And he addressed it after the game. He said it was a huge momentum changer.
Throw to second. IKF, as they call him in these parts. Helps the headline writers. Can't squeeze Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in every time. He dives back.
We don't know if it's used here, but the pitch comm is used not only to call pitches, but to put on pickoff plays as well.
Oh, 0-2 to Bader. Ramirez, back of the bag, long throw across the diamond, retires Bader. And we play 2 in the Bronx with the Yankees up 2-0.
I like to say hi to my mom multiple times over. I love you. It's game time, bro. It's game time. I love the roll call. What did I say? I'm not Aaron Judge. They're gonna call out all the players. Knock. Knock.
That's Tristan McKenzie, who'll start game 3 tomorrow night at Progressive Field in Cleveland. Mic'd up for us this afternoon in the Bronx. Austin Hedges leads it off, top of the 3rd. 0 for 3 in game 1. Two balls and a strike. And the count evens, and now it's Hedges who's complaining to rehab.
Yeah, that was not a strike as well. There's a reason that Hedges questioned that call. Not close.
We assumed it was ball 3.
Who would know better than a catcher where the ball was?
By the way, as you well know, that's one of the reasons why catchers tend not to argue when they're at the plate as the hitter, because they want the similar call for their pitcher when they get back behind the plate. Another 2-2 pitch. Full count. Miles Straw is on deck. With a 107 start at this point, shadows are not an issue. As the afternoon moves along, and if it's a slow-paced game, it could become a factor.
They're just inching up the first base line, as you can see. You see the light stanchions, and I think they're going to be in play earlier than we thought, or it feels like that.
Pop wide of 3rd. 3 Yankees converge, and there's no play. Except for her. If she caught it on the fly without leaving her seat, that's a heck of a play.
The bucket person has got to get out of Dodge, but tough play.
Get out of Dodge if you can't dodge the fielder. And Hedges gets the walk. You ever wondered what players say on the field? Well, we know about Tristan McKenzie today. Want to see celebrities try to hit a fastball? Does anybody really want to see that? Are you interested in baseball culture in Latin America? Well, that's a different story. Check out MLB Originals at MLB.com/originals.
Only 38 walks this year and 158 in the 3rd innings for Nestor Cortez.
Miles Straw, winner of no popularity contests among Yankee fans. We explained that in game 1. Brouhaha in April. Fans were throwing some stuff on the field, and he took exception and actually scaled the wall and got in the face of some of the fans. And after that, he had some unfavorable comments about Yankee fans. They did not take kindly to it. He says there were some death threats on social media. Social media, of course, always a bastion of civil and thoughtful commentary.
That's where I get my news. I don't know about you, Bob.
Yeah. It's the way to be well informed. 2-1. Straw is an interesting player. He is an elite center fielder. He can run the bases, swiped 21 and 22 attempts this year. Hit just .221 though for the year, and playing regularly did not have a single home run.
Sometimes you forget he was the center fielder who was supposed to replace George Springer in Houston. Didn't work out, traded here to Cleveland, and now he's there every day, center fielder.
The fact that he's a former Astro is another demerit among Yankee fans. The 3-1 from Cortez is in there.
Well, Straw has hit safely in all 3 games so far for the Guardians.
Edges held by Rizzo. Carl Willis, the pitching coach, alongside Francona.
Francona so deprecating, self-deprecating, talking about his lineup today. He said, we're not really set up to play against left-handed pitching.
Pop to the right side. It's Torres who wants it, and he takes it for out number 1. Well, the Guardians hit exactly half as many home runs during the regular season as the Yankees. 127 against 254. They got less than a third of their runs on homers. The Yankees got a little more than half of their runs on homers. It's a contrast in styles. This is a contact hitting team. They have 5 guys who stole 18 bases or more. The guy on deck right now, Ahmed Rosario, led the majors with 9 triples. The Yankees as a team had 8. Ball 1 to Kwan.
But the Guardians, unless they're able to string some hits together, will not be able to show you that strength.
Kwan began the game with a bunt single. That floats in there for strike 1. If there had not been a rainout last night, and if this series had gone to a 4th and 5th game, Garrett Cole, who's set up in any case if there's a game 4, would pitch on regular rest for the Yankees on Sunday night in Cleveland. But Cortez would have been the Monday night starter in game 5 had it not been for the rainout. Kwan fouls it back. Now Aaron Boone tells us if there is a game 5, and he certainly hopes there will not be one, but if there is, he could use Cortez for an inning or 2 in a matchup situation on 2 days rest.
If the Guardians are able to get this to a game 5, you're going to see a bullpen game for both teams.
Pretty much. If there's a game 4, it's a reprise of the game 1 matchup. Cal Quantrill will go for the Guardians and Garrett Cole for the Yankees. In the air to left center field, Cabrera and Bader, and it's Bader for the catch. Game 3 tomorrow night at Progressive Field. Luis Severino, who threw 7 no-hit innings his last outing of the regular season against the Rangers, against Tristan McKenzie, who has been brilliant this year and in his 1 start against the Rays in the Wild Card Series for the Guardians. But if there's a game 4, again, as I said, Quantrill against Cole, but Francona in a game 5 would have to start Aaron Savali, his number 4 starter, but not count on him to go deep. Both teams in a game 5 situation would be emptying the bullpens if we get that far. 1-1 to Rosario, who singled to right his first time up. Shadows creeping ever closer to the diamond. At third base, Donaldson. The flip to Torres for the force. And that's it for Cleveland in the third. After 2.5, it remains 2-0 Yanks. Braves and Phillies, game 3. In Philadelphia, Citizens Bank Park will be rocking. Same thing will be true at Petco in San Diego. Dodgers and Padres. Both those series tied at 1 apiece. Top of the order in the bottom of the third for the Yankees. Aaron Judge in a bit of a slump. Struck out 4 times already in this series. 3 times in game 1 and in his first at bat here in game 2. And he was struggling a bit, truth be told, the last few games of the regular season. He handled all of the attention and all of what we assume was some pressure on him as he pursued Ruth and Maris. He handled it with such grace, but eventually you have to believe that some of it got to him, if only fatiguing him emotionally, if not physically.
Well, we live in a world now where immediacy has to happen. So as soon as he hits 60, most people are feeling, okay, I need it right now. I need number 61. I need number 62 right after that. It's not that easy to hit home runs. Easier for Aaron, of course.
2-2 the count to him. For those not aware, as our cameras pan a part of Monument Park, there are no more single digits left for the Yankees. Many other numbers have also been retired given their fabled history, but every single digit is gone.
Some retired twice.
Yep. 8 for Bill Dickey and Yogi Berra, both Hall of Fame catchers. Again, Judge strikes out. We'll be back to that subject in a moment, but between innings, Lauren Shahadi talked with Terry Francona.
Terry, you told me Shane's cutter is key. How has he settled in?
You know, I think he's actually been pretty good. Threw a ball, probably ball 4. I know their dugout was complaining. I think they were right. Then he tried to throw a fastball down and away and didn't. Got it elevated. Cost us 2 runs. But now, as long as he throws that cutter, seems like it gets the rest of his pitches in line.
Nestor's in a rhythm. How do you disrupt him?
You know what? I mean, we've had base runners, which is good. He's got so many. It's not just his deception. He's got stuff with it. So we're gonna have to keep fighting.
Terry, thank you.
You get a sense he knows he's up against it.
He said something great. He said, the moment won't be too big for my young guys. They're going to battle. Doesn't matter what happens.
He has to be very proud of what this team has done, not only getting to this point, but the way they have done it. They've played smart baseball. They've played hustling baseball. No matter how this turns out, could be good times ahead for them.
With an average age of just a smidge over 26 years old.
They are the youngest team in the majors. They also have the lowest payroll of the 12 teams that made the postseason.
Outside.
3-1 now to Rizzo, who lined to left his first time up. A 1-out walk. First walk issued by Bieber. He struck out 2, Judge, in each case. Torres poked a single to right in the first inning.
Torres probably coming over off his best year since his monster year in 2019.
What did he have? 38 home runs in 19, right? Couldn't match that in the abbreviated 2020 season or last year, but had a very strong finish to the 2022 regular season. Timeout is called very late, with Bieber already into his motion.
Well, see, Torres puts his hand up and steps out, and Rehack gave it to him. Like you said, Bob, I thought it was a bit late as well.
Now the 0-1 pitch. Called strike 2. Up high. Shane Bieber is 27 years old. He's 6'3" and 200. And with the last name, you know he's taken some ribbing. And in fact, the Players Weekend, where players can have any name they want on the back of their uniform, he chose not Justin.
Good.
And now he steps off.
You know, Bieber against Torres in that first at bat with 2 strikes. Torres just served one to right. Bieber's a guy that spends most of the time on the outside corner to right-handed hitters. Has not thrown one pitch inside to the righties so far.
The 1-2 to Torres. Down and away. Blocked by Hedges. Rizzo not a speedster at first. No inclination to try and take the extra base. First base coach there is Travis Chapman. First base coaches are seldom mentioned in game stories, but he was after game 1 because of the base running gaffe of Josh Donaldson. We'll review that in a moment. The 2-2 pitch. Grounded to third. Actually shortstop, where it's backhanded nicely, but the play at second base is not in time. Rosario dove into the hole between third and short, made a terrific play. Obviously it scored a hit, the second of the game for Torres, and the Yankees have runners at first and second with 1 out.
Again, nice job by Torres, just putting the ball in play. What an athletic play from Rosario. Able to get up, and Rizzo with the hustle just gets in before the throw. Told you before, the 2 infielders up the middle for the Guardians can put on some kind of show, and Rosario almost did there.
Up comes Stanton. 2-run homer in the first inning. 2 on with 1 out in this spot. Strike 1. So when Donaldson hit that fly ball to right that he thought was out, Travis Chapman, the first base coach, actually slapped hands with him before he reached first base. He's in a trot between first and second. The ball's in play. He winds up being thrown out. One and one.
You'll hear about that for some time from guys on the team and his fellow coaches.
One and two. Donaldson is on deck. Judge looking on. It bounces away and the runners will move up. Rizzo to third. Torres to second.
You know, Bob, what makes this so difficult is that Bieber will throw a lot of sliders in the dirt, but see the right knee down for the catcher Hedges. So instead of blocking the pitch, he's trying to pick it with a backhand. Very difficult with all that spin on that slider, and the ball gets by him. Right knee down, hard to shift into position to block the baseball.
Infield is halfway, and it's down and away. Full count to Stanton, as it was when he homered in the first. They're in closer on the right side than on the left, understandably, with Stanton at the plate. Struck him out when he needed it.
Well, in the previous at bat, the 3-2 pitch, he went with a fastball trying to surprise Stanton. This time he stayed with his trusty cutter, but just stayed on the outside part and voided the bat of Stanton. Good pitch by Bieber. Maybe the most important pitch for him in this game.
Now it's up to Donaldson. He grounded to third his first time up. Second and third with 2 outs as he swings and misses. The Cleveland pen is busy. That's Eli Morgan. He'll put his cap on if he gets into the game.
Well, they're putting the pitch comm in the cap right now, so
oh, there you go.
They get that in there, then he'll have his lid back.
A ball and a strike. Rizzo away from third. Gleyber Torres at second. And now Donaldson questions a plate umpire. And Aaron Boone's expression tells you he feels the same way.
This one seemed like it was a little closer pitch, but still out of the strike zone on our rectangle anyway.
Because of the base running blunder, what might have been overlooked was that Donaldson went 2 for 2 with a walk and had 2 good defensive plays in game 1. Two on, 2 out in a 2-0 game, and the 2-2 pitch. Full count.
This is one of those times you have a veteran up. You don't feel like Bieber's going to give in to Donaldson at all, even though you have the left-handed hitting Cabrera. He's a rookie up next with first base open. Probably going to see another breaking ball here.
Line to left, Kwan comes on and makes a nice catch. Shoestring grab, otherwise 2 runs might have scored. The Yanks are turned away, and after 3 it's still 2-0 New York.
With your friend? Just tell Siri. Text Alex. Next game, my place. Bring pizza.
On we go to the 4th. Jose Ramirez, Oscar Gonzalez, Josh Naylor to face Nestor Cortes Jr. With his flyout in his first at-bat, Ramirez is now 0 for 8 in his career against Cortes, and half of those at-bats have ended in strikeouts. Big difference on the splits for the switch hitter. Batting left-handed, .295 with 23 home runs during the regular season. Right-handed, .236 with a half dozen home runs. But He did hit a home run right-handed off Shane McClanahan in Game 1 against Tampa Bay in the wild card series. It was the decisive blow.
Lights on already here at Yankee Stadium. Anticipating the shadows.
And Ramirez strikes out. So far, Cortez has his number.
And he has his number with that cutter. That cutter upstairs seems to be a problem for Ramirez. He has funny looking swings against this pitch, and funny looking swings is not usually what you get from Ramirez.
Gonzalez lined into an inning-ending and rally-killing double play in the first. High fly ball to center. Bader shades his eyes and takes it. Between innings, Aaron Boone spoke with Lauren Shahadi.
Aaron, don't sleep on Nestor's stuff, you said. How's it playing today?
Good. He's battling out there. He's made some big pitches there in that first inning when he got into a little bit of a jam. He's such a good competitor, though. We know we're going to get a guy that continues to compete all the time.
What do you think of the strike zone this afternoon?
Well, it's been all right. You know, we've obviously disagreed with a couple pitches. We thought we're down now to the zone, but you know, both guys are strike throwers, so I don't know. We'll have to look at it. Thanks,
Aaron.
That's the first time that Aaron Boone has not had an immediate comment about the strike zone in his 5 years here.
Yeah.
As the Yankee manager. Very diplomatic.
Naylor to the plate. Out on a comebacker his first time up. Little tap to the right side. Torres charges, bare hands, flips, and it gets away. Have to wait for the scoring, but Naylor is on with 2 out, and he's hobbling a little bit as he returns to first. It's ruled a hit, and rightly so.
A lot of times on those plays you'll jam your foot, but what happens there is Torres is just too close to Rizzo. So that exchange with what he's got on that throw with the shadows involved, just too tough for Rizzo to make a play.
And generally speaking, you expect him to make even the most difficult plays. He's such a good first baseman.
You're not a first baseman there. You're more like a goalie.
Yeah,
trying to make that play.
In truth, had he been able to catch it, they would have gotten Naylor.
Yes.
The throw had him beat.
I was saying that a lot of times you'll jam your foot into the bag because of the hustle, trying to get down there as quick as you can and not caring about how you go into the bag. And sometimes you'll jam your foot against the bag in an awkward way. Past Rizzo. The long lean by Naylor. That didn't look too harmful, but you never know. Every player at this time of year is playing with nagging injuries that they've had probably for 5 months of the season.
Naylor trying to walk it off. Obviously wants to stay in the game.
You can't get a lot of sympathy from Terry Francona, who's had his own leg issues. So as he's out there to see if his first baseman can continue.
Both last season and the year before, Terry Francona had to take leaves of absence because of health problems. He's had multiple surgeries, multiple illnesses, hip surgery, knee surgery. That's from his playing days, but illnesses as well.
Yeah.
Had a staph infection in a foot, his left foot, but eventually they had to put a rod in it. Very uncomfortable for him to even walk. He's 63 years old. It's likely he'll be back next year. It's unlikely he'll manage into his 70s or late 60s like some guys have. Tony La Russa finally calling it quits in his late 70s. Dusty Baker still going strong into his mid 70s. Guys like Brian Snitker and Buck Showalter into their late 60s. Whenever Terry decides he's done, the Hall of Fame will beckon. Owen Miller is the DH. He struck out his first time up. Speaking of Francona, you think of Theo Epstein. As an executive, he helped to break the curse in Boston, then did the same in Chicago. Terry was the manager in 04, came ever so close in Cleveland in 2016 in the World Series against the Cubs. One curse had to end one way or the other. Chicago's was longer, and they finally ended it. Francona's team had a 3-1 lead in that series, and it got away from them. Just as Miller got away from Cortez.
Lucky enough to watch Nestor Cortez pitch a lot this season, and he seems a little rushed all day today, just a little quick with his body, so he's leaving that cutter up in the strike zone, more floating than cutting.
This postseason, bet $5, win 200 in free bets if your team wins. Download the app and get in on the action.
So another opportunity here for the Guardians. Andres Jimenez will be the hitter. Starting second baseman for the American League in the All-Star game. Hit .297 with 17 home runs.
11 of those 17 home runs came on the road for Jimenez.
He threw in 20 stolen bases on top of it as part of his All-Star campaign. Struck out looking against Cortez's first time up in this game. The Guardians do not have a single hit with runners in scoring position so far in this postseason. An infield hit and a walk have put 2 on with 2 out in the 4th. Soft liner right field. It drops in front of Judge. Here comes Naylor around third. Judge fires toward the plate. It's high over Trevino's head. And the Guardians are on the board. It's a 2-1 game, and they have runners at second and third as the rally continues. Well, Naylor just gutting it out. Legged it out as best he could. If Judge had any chance at all, it would have taken a perfect throw. And Aaron is a very good outfielder with a very good arm, but that was a very imperfect throw to the plate.
Well, sidearm with the 0-2 breaking ball that catches too much of the plate. Great hitting here by Jimenez to drop it in front of Judge. And the Yankees get a break here with this throw from Judge. Goes over the head of Trevino. Not backing up was Cortez, but the ball came right back to home plate. Off the backboards. Good hustle by Naylor.
So now the catcher, Austin Hedges.
It's really the first time that Nestor tried to get cute in this game. It cost him.
Bounced foul, 1-1. Lou Trevino, not to be confused with the catcher Trevino, although he may soon be his battery mate in this game, getting warm in the Yankee pen. Cortez gets ahead of Hedges 1-2, and much of the crowd comes to its feet at Yankee Stadium. Foul back, and Hedges hangs in.
That one caught home plate umpire Jeremy Rehak.
Yep, got him off the mask. Occupational hazard. Drop down sidearm, but missed.
First sidearm pitch. As you see Miles Straw on deck by Cortez was a breaking ball. This one a fastball.
Cortez's 21st pitch of this inning and 67th of the game upcoming. In tight. It's a full count with Miles Straw on deck and first base open.
Good at bat by Hedges. Walked in his first plate appearance.
You don't want to issue 2 walks to a guy who hit 163. But he does. Second walk of the inning, third of the game for Cortez. Miller is at third. Jimenez is at second. Hedges is at first.
Good.
Enjoy the thrill of the postseason with the MLB app. Get daily lineups, live pitch-by-pitch coverage, and more on the free app with over 150,000 reviews. Download the MLB app today.
Good chance for Straw to quiet the Bluebirds.
Strike one. With 2 out and nobody on in this inning, Josh Naylor had an infield hit. Owen Miller followed with a walk. Jimenez an RBI single to right. Hedges then walked. The bases loaded, a run home. Foul back 0-2. What a play by Cortez. He rights himself, bounces it to Rizzo, and they get him. Wow.
What a reaction here by Cortez. And from the seat of his pants, he gets the out at first base. If there could have been a play up the middle, he doesn't know that. Makes the play, kind of hand grenades it over there to first base. Rizzo's able to pick it. Look at his eyes. As he looks that ball in, it hits the leather, and celebratory as he comes off the mound.
To the bottom of the fourth, Bieber works to Cabrera. Cortez has that everyman appeal, as we've said. You can imagine him playing in your Sunday softball league. But he is a much better athlete than people might expect, and his conditioning is much better. He's done a lot of work in the offseason on balance and quickness.
And on his core, and that's why Aaron Boone has said that he had the season he did. It's because he's in better shape athletically.
The 1-1 pitch to Cabrera. That's up the middle. But behind the bag is Rosario, and he throws him out. You know, as you look at that play that ended the Guardians' fourth, if it had gotten by Cortez, Kiner Falefa would have fielded it, but Straw is very fast. There might not have been a play at first, but the runner at first was Hedges, the catcher. They might have had the force at second base.
That would have been the play. You saw earlier an inning before Donaldson make the play at second base with Hedges running because it was the easier play.
And here is Kiner Falefa. Had a single and a stolen base back in the second. Line drive and a soft one and caught by Jimenez.
Bob, there's certain games as a starting pitcher that you know that the feeling of the game is you can't give up any more. That's where Bieber is right now. Cannot give up another run.
Well, Stephen Kwan helped him out in the third inning. Line drive by Donaldson that might have added to the Yankee lead, and Kwan made a nice running catch. That ended the inning. Quickly 0-2 to Jose Trevino. Trevino slumped toward the end of the season. His backup, Kyle Higashioka, actually hit nearly 300 in the season's second half with some power. But Trevino, nothing against Higashioka, who's also good, but Trevino is so good as a receiver at framing pitches and all the defensive aspects of the position. It would take a lot for Aaron Boone to sit him down. He has to sit down here because he just struck out, and he's got to put his equipment back on and come back out for the fifth inning with the score 2-1 New York.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the MLB. During the postseason, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in free bets if your team's moneyline bet wins. Download the app and use promo code HEAT when you sign up.
On to the fifth. Nestor Cortes to face the top of the order, starting with Stephen Kwan. Curveball drops in at 74 miles an hour for strike one. Kwan had a bunt single, then fly to center. The line on Nestor Cortes through 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 run allowed, 3 walks and 3 strikeouts, and now he's at 73 pitches. He likely will not go as deep into this game as Aaron Boone had reason to hope for and maybe even expect. In the air to left, Cabrera started in, drifts back a little, and makes the catch.
Well, he's not really, Bob, at his A game this afternoon. You can see that, but it's a gutsy performance trying to get through these innings. You saw Aaron Boone last inning, wanted to know if he was done or not. No, I'm good. I'm good. And this play, defensive play up the middle, has kept him in this game to the 5th inning, but not without a reliever in the bullpen for the Yankees warming up alongside Cortes pitching here in the 5th.
Rosario has singled and grounded out. Well hit to center. Bader goes back. He goes way back to the track, to the wall, and it's in the bullpen to tie the game. Ahmed Rosario, who hit 11 round trippers during the regular season, goes deep off Cortes, and it's a tie game in the 5th.
6 runs now by the Guardians. 5 have come via the home run.
6 in this postseason.
Yeah,
in
6
4
in
games.
the postseason.
Yep. Here's Ramirez.
Four-seam fastball, supposed to be in, catches the middle of the plate. And Rosario, who's not a home run hitter, but has that kind of power when he connects. Deep one to center field.
0-2 to Ramirez. Sounded good off the bat. Bader was playing pretty shallow, and it just kept carrying and into the bullpen.
You always feel in this ballpark, don't you, Bob? Anything to right field, you never know it could go out. But anything towards right center, and of course left center has to really be struck.
Well, that had to carry around 400 feet to the center field side of the 385 sign in right center. Line drive off Ramirez's bat, and it's a foul ball. He's 0 for 2 today and 0 for 9 now in his career against Cortez. Another 0-2 pitch and another foul ball.
Just like Bader's home run in game 1 where it got it tied. Felt the same here with Rosario getting this game even again. Now the Indians can go to work. Guardians go to work.
You're excused. It's only the first full year after that name change. The 0-2 pitch once again is popped up. Who's going to take it? Middle of the diamond. It's Donaldson. So Ramirez, one of the best in the game, still hasn't solved Cortez.
Bench is mad at home plate umpire Jeremy Rehak because Ramirez tried to call time, didn't get it, as opposed to the Yankee player who did get it while Bieber was in Maine, was right in the middle of his windup.
Yeah, that was Gleyber Torres back earlier in the game. Oscar Gonzalez now. 2 out, nobody on. A run home on the Rosario homer, which we're told was officially 416 feet into the Yankee bullpen. Two and one. Rosario reviewing his exploits. Well, he's given those 2 runs back. And his 2-2 to Gonzalez is rolled foul. Punch to the right side, and it's by the diving Rizzo for a 2-out hit. Rizzo had him played way off the line and couldn't lunge back in enough time to field it. Sandy Alomar Jr. is the first base coach.
For first baseman, sometimes this is the most awkward ball on the ground to pick up because of the late swing from the right-handed hitter. Rizzo with a nice step to his left, but not able to get there.
Brings up Josh Naylor, who likely is playing through clenched teeth.
Visit first from the pitching coach Matt Blake. This is a very interesting place for Aaron Boone and the Yankees, because Nestor Cortez is deadly on left-handed hitters, and he's only given up 1 left-handed home run to a left-handed hitter all year long. The problem is
it's this guy, Josh Naylor. The only homer he's yielded all year long was hit by Josh Naylor to a left-handed hitter. So Blake just reminding him of a few things.
Two people that know that better than anyone on this field, Nestor Cortez and Josh Naylor.
Yep. Gonzalez back to first.
Frustration now, and Cortez thought that was a strike. I thought it was away.
Out of the sunshine and into the shadows with a pitch to Naylor with a Ruthian cut, trying to send that one into the upper deck. Instead, he swings through it.
Appropriate place for a Ruthian cut. Good pitch by Cortez.
Sort of like Bambino-like dimensions for him, right? Talking about physical dimensions, not the dimensions of the ballpark and where he tried to hit it. Here's the home run Naylor hit earlier this season off Cortez in this ballpark. The pitch is down and he gulfs it over Judge's head and into the seats. The 1-2 pitch is skied to left center field. Bader over with Cabrera. Cabrera takes it. The homer by Rosario ties the game. Cortez makes it through the fifth, but it's a new game now in the Bronx.
That's all right, buddy.
You know, it makes me feel better when
Yes.
even someone as nearly flawless as Ernie Johnson bobbles one once in a blue moon. Bader grounded out his first time. Neither Bieber, the former Cy Young Award winner, nor Cortez, an all-star this year, has his A game going today. They're both gritting it out into the middle innings, but the bullpen will play a big role for both teams. The 1-2 pitch.
I really love how Bieber has responded. It's not easy to give up a 2-run home run in the first inning in this ballpark. You almost have to be perfect after that to keep your team in the game. He has been. On that home run from Rosario, tie it up.
High fly ball to left. Kwan drifting back, shy of the track, makes the catch. Once again, Aaron Judge, 3 strikeouts in game 1. Struck out both times today so far.
I have to say, Bob, they've been very aggressive with him getting up in the count. So what the result has been is they've been making him chase pitches out of the zone. Only one of those strikeouts is the ball been a strike. All the other pitches have been out of the strike zone.
Ball 1. The esteemed pitching coach Carl Willis for the Guardians said before the series began, we are going to attack him with respect, but we will attack him. So far, so good.
Well, the lineup just has so much depth. You know, you can't get into a game of just walking Judge and getting other people out. When you watch him swing like right now, feels like he's a little quick, feels like that front shoulder is pulling out. When he's at his best, he's equally tough pulling the ball to left field for a home run or hitting it to right field for a home run.
Bieber's 1-2 pitch is down and away. You know, when people talk about this ballpark, and it certainly is favorable, it's a good hitter's park, and guys like Judge and Stanton can hit it out easily to the opposite field. Worth mentioning, he hit 32 of his 62 on the road and 30 at home. Maris hit 31 of his 61 on the road and 30 at home. So the supposed short porch in right field was not as much of a factor as some people make it out to be. Wide of first, Naylor over, no play. Now, for whatever this may be worth, after hitting 61 homers in 1961, Roger Maris went 2 for 19 in the World Series against the Cincinnati Reds, but one of those 2 hits was a 9th inning home run in Game 3 at Crosley Field that won the game for the Yankees. No preliminary playoffs then. Win the pennant, go to the World Series, which the Yankees did, beat Cincinnati in 5. The 2-2 to Judge. Called strike 3. He's gotten the hat trick in each of the first 2 games of this series.
Well, this is really a case of being surprised on that last pitch. Really a steady slider mix early on. This one out of the strike zone. Perfect pitch on the outside corner. This one caught more of the plate but still down. And by the time he gets to this fastball, he will just surprise Judge, who takes it for strike 3. Four-seamer, bottom of the zone, looking for the slider, gets the express.
Bieber has 5 strikeouts. Judge has been the victim 3 times. A ball and a strike to Rizzo, who's lined out and walked. You know, thinking of Judge, and despite the monster year he has had, historic year, there's still a case to be made for Shohei Ohtani for MVP because he's such a unique player. I would still vote for Judge, but you can understand the sentiment for Ohtani. Worth mentioning for the benefit of casual fans, whatever happens in the postseason, good or bad, does not count. Right. It's a regular season award. Three and one now to Rizzo. Pretty good case to be made, even if he doesn't get a single hit in the postseason, which is irrelevant in terms of the voting, may not be irrelevant in terms of how fans evaluate his overall season, but this is just epic right there. Rizzo cuts and misses, and the count is full.
Well, you've seen what he's done after that 2-run home run in the first inning. Big pitch here, though. Got him to swing through that 3-1 cutter. Can he do it again? Rizzo hit a cutter for a 2-run home run off Cal Quantrill in Game 1.
Draws his second walk of the afternoon. He's on with 2 out.
Runners at first and second with nobody out. One out there. Throw to second. On to first. The triple play to end it. Unbelievable.
Round the horn triple play, a rarity to end the game. More unusual still. Gleyber Torres has a pair of singles. Hit sharply to short. Rosario. The flip to Jimenez, and that's that. We played 5. Cleveland 2, New York 2. The afternoon is done for Nestor Cortes Jr. There's the line on him. It'll be a no decision. Lou Trevino, who was the closer for Oakland until the trade deadline when he came to the Yankees along with Frankie Montas. Montas could have been an important addition, but he's been on the IL for a while. Very much in doubt whether he can contribute anything down the line in the postseason if the Yankees get past Cleveland in the division series.
But Trevino's been a big part. 1.66 ERA since coming over to the Yankees. This is his 6th career postseason appearance.
First guy he faces is the DH Owen Miller. Struck out and walked against Cortes. This will soon become a bullpen game. It already is for the Yankees, with Trevino now forming a battery with Trevino. But keep this in mind, the Guardians bullpen has not allowed a run in 13 1/3 innings in this postseason. It isn't just Class A, who is Class A this year out of the bullpen. The depth of their relief corps is very impressive. The Yankees had a terrific bullpen first half of the year. Then a combination of injuries and some inconsistency put it in flux. So Boone does not have the certainty he once had.
And like that 15-inning game that Cleveland had against Tampa Bay, we're again in the shadows.
The 0-2 pitch coming from Trevino to Miller. You think about those shadows back in the day. Now the old timers may smile, and kids, listen up, you can learn something. Back in the day, every World Series game was played in the afternoon, often starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, often featuring the Yankees because they seem to win the pennant almost every year. Guys like Bobby Richardson, Mantle, Tony Kubek have told me about Game 1. Called strike 3 as Trevino disposes of Miller. Game 1 of the 1963 World Series, where Sandy Koufax struck out a then record 15. They took down the hitting background so they could have 63,000 people there. Back then, people all wore white shirts. Men all wore white shirts to the game. He's coming out of the shadows, or out of the sunshine rather, into the shadows, speaking of Koufax, with that rising fastball and that 12-6 curveball, and they hadn't seen him except maybe in an all-star game. Guys like Richardson, who struck out maybe 20 times a year, fanned 3 times in the game. It's completely unhittable, especially under the conditions. And Mantle walked back to the dugout after one at-bat and said, "How are you supposed to hit that bleep?" A perfectly good question, if a rhetorical one.
I'm thinking of Mad Men and the white collared shirt.
Yes.
Short sleeve.
It's a good look. The 0-1 to Jimenez. Francona's team has gotten off the mat. They were down 2-0 after the Stanton home run on the first. They've tied it at 2. The guy at the plate, Jimenez, helped to bring them back with an RBI hit in the 4th. Jonathan Loaisiga is up in the Yankee bullpen. He logged 2/3 of an inning in Game 1 on Tuesday night. One-two pitch.
Not only are the Yankees going to have a bullpen by committee, but it looks like so far in this game they're going to have 2 throwing at the same time all game.
Atmosphere a lot brighter right now in the Guardian dugout than it was a few innings ago. Austin Hedges, the catcher, is on deck. And the 3-2 pitch to Jimenez. Walked him. Don't miss a thing this postseason. Follow @MLB on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to keep up with everything baseball. Let's check in with Lauren.
Well, Bob, I asked Lou because we've seen players come here, great players in their own right? But they don't thrive in the Bronx. So I asked him, is it just a media narrative that playing in New York isn't for everyone and that it's difficult? He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, no. The pinstripes are heavy, but I embrace it. New York, not an easy market, except for maybe Ron Darling, right?
It's interesting. They say that pinstripes are slimming in terms of fashion, but maybe heavy in terms of expectations if you play for the Yankees.
Well, now you're starting to get into where the Guardians have some real strengths here. You talked about the would-be base stealers on this Guardians team. One on first base after that walk in Jimenez.
Cortez walked Hedges twice. Usually not a guy you pitch around. Jimenez stole 20 bases this year. Was caught only 3 times. He squares to bunt, pulls back as the pitch is in tight. Now, what about that? If he was bunting, he has no speed, and by the way he was approaching it, it would be a sacrifice, but that would bring up Straw with 2 out.
Yeah, Donaldson playing way back. Not a good play, I don't think, unless he thinks he's going to be able to get a bunt base hit. Doubt that.
Me too. There goes the runner. Here's the peg to second base from Trevino, and Jimenez steals it.
The other thing you could be doing as a hitter when you square around a bunt is taking some pitches to allow the runner on first base to steal the base. So that's maybe what he was doing there. Good jump by Jimenez. Head down, head first slide, not even close. The fake bunt there by Hedges pulls the bat back and maybe presented an obstacle for Trevino.
I'm leaning now toward your explanation of why he was appearing to bunt with really no such intention, except to try to help Jimenez out. 2-0 the count. I wonder how often Austin Hedges has been walked 3 straight times in any game. He hit 163 for the season with 7 home runs.
He will not be swinging 3-0. Is that what you're saying?
That would be my guess. And he takes a 96-mile-per-hour fastball for a strike.
Well, the Guardians finally busted that seal on runners in scoring position with a Jimenez hit. Maybe they can work on that now with Hedges.
Full count. Go ahead run in scoring position after the walk and stolen base by Jimenez. Struck him out. And now with Miles Straw, the hitter due, Aaron Boone is making his way to the mound. So Trevino surrenders the ball. Loizaga is coming in. And we'll come back to the Bronx after this.
property of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Here's a look at TBS Total Motion presented by Progressive. Cortez has had better outings. Same is true of Bieber, although Bieber has righted himself and he remains in the game at this point. Rosario's home run tied the game at 2. A Stanton 2-run homer in the first had given the Yankees the early lead. While Trevino was in there, he faced 3 hitters, struck 2 of them out, walked Jimenez in between. Jimenez stole second. Now Loaisiga comes out of the pen to face Miles Straw.
Well, with this bullpen by committee, it wasn't a stretch to know that Jonathan Loaisiga might be the most important reliever in that bullpen for the Yankees.
Straw was 0 for 2 against Cortez. Straw, in fact, was the hitter when Cortez made that acrobatic play on the sharp comebacker. One and one to Straw. If he passes the baton, Stephen Kwan is on deck.
Loaisiga's got nice arm side run on his fastball, good breaking ball, and changeup. 98 plus.
That's a foul ball. His history, speaking of Loaisiga, is that he can give you a little bit of length. He's not a one-inning guy or just a matchup guy.
And that's why I think he's going to be so valuable in this series.
His 1-2 pitch to Straw is popped up. Retreating from second is Torres. And he makes the catch to end the inning. To the bottom of the 6th. And it remains Guardians 2, Yankees 2.
The MLB postseason on TBS is brought to you by Taco Bell.
If you were with us from the start, you know that Giancarlo Stanton was unhappy with a 3-1 pitch that was called strike 2. But then on the full count pitch, he launched one into the right field seats for a home run. So he winds up happy that the at-bat continues. And now he starts it for the Yanks at the bottom of the 6th. Justin Bieber just threw his 84th pitch. Trevor Stephan is up in the Cleveland bullpen. Did I actually called Shane Bieber Justin Bieber? How did
not the
I
first
vowed
time.
that would not happen? I'm sure it's not the first time it's happened in his life. I wonder if he's watching the game. Shane Bieber, ladies and gentlemen.
If you guys can name one Justin Bieber song, I give you $10.
Yummy.
Yes, Ron. Yes.
You actually had a Justin Bieber song at the ready. The 1-2 pitch, and Stanton strikes out looking.
Well, you see 2 different ways of managing this game, right? You have Aaron Boone has gone to the bullpen early, took Cortez out. But with Bieber, you have Francona try to stretch him. And even though Stanton hit a 2-run home run against him in the first, he throws him out there with Stanton leading off this 6th inning, and he gets the strikeout.
Here's the line so far. Hey, Lauren, when it comes to that little blooper there on my part,
Yes.
I'm sorry. And isn't that a Justin Bieber song? Sorry?
Honestly, you guys are completely shocking
You know,
me right now.
actually, Lauren, I was confident that you would know that.
Your son texted you that.
No.
I do not give you any credit for it.
No, we can't give Keith any credit. Confident is another Bieber song. I'm just trying to have you keep it in mind just how contemporary I can be.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Noted.
Moving right along. Here's Donaldson. 0 for 2. Robbed of a hit on a nice running catch by Quan back in the third. And ahead on the count, 3-0. Walked him on 4 pitches. Third walk given up by Bieber. Get your game on at MLBshop.com. Authentic on-field caps, tees, hoodies, and more. Get all your postseason gear and wear what the champs wear at the official source, MLBshop.com. Cabrera's grounded out twice and takes a strike. He went just 3 for his first 19 with 9 strikeouts upon being called up from the minors. But Boone saw a lot in him. Good all-round player, plays multiple positions, carries himself with a certain kind of confidence. And he hit .293 over his last 22 games of the regular season. He's going to be a fixture here.
We heard Ben Zobrist's name tossed out when talking about Cabrera today.
Swiss Army knife type of player. Speaking of Zobrist. Since the 2-run homer by Stanton in the first, the Yankees have managed only 2 hits off Bieber. It may not seem that way because he doesn't have his usual command. It seems like it's been a bit of a struggle. But in fact, he's been effective since that Stanton round tripper. And it's 1-2 to Cabrera. Evens the count.
When I watch Bieber, Bob, I'm always amazed that, and I think he does it as well as anyone in the game, his ability to spin the ball and bounce it when he wants a strikeout. The appearance that it's going to be a strike, but ends up out of the strike zone. He's the master of it.
He has 6 strikeouts. Judge 3 times. Stanton twice among them. Way outside. So with a full count and 1 out, and Kiner Falefa on deck, what do you do with Donaldson at first?
I think they're going to run him. Down in the order. Bieber's kind of slow to the plate.
Not going. And Cabrera comes up empty. So the 7th strikeout for Bieber.
Well, good call not to run Donaldson here. Swing and a miss on the backdoor breaking ball from Bieber. Good cutter. Can't make a better pitch in a big situation.
Kiner Falefa singled, stole a base in the 2nd, then lined out in the 4th. The 100th pitch of the afternoon upcoming from Shane Bieber. And it's taken by Ikea for a strike.
See the pitches by inning. That was a great example. When he gets a little behind in the count, he'll throw that little cutter to get back in the count. And he's been able to fire on that all day.
Line to right center, and it drops for a base hit. Donaldson's going to stop at second.
Oh.
Between Jimenez and Gonzalez, they were fumbling the ball around a little bit. Donaldson likely could have made third, but he had already decided to retreat to second by the time all that happened. And Bieber now is done.
Well, the ball hit off the end of the bat, so Jimenez, if you would have kept running, he jumped prematurely. That's why he did not come up with the ball. Great try, but Andres just jumped a little early to make that play. And the Yankees have runners at first and second.
So Bieber walks off. Best he can hope for is a no decision. Trevor Stephan on his way in from the bullpen. In the New York sixth. There's his line.
Well, he had good stuff. He made that one mistake, of course, the Stanton 3-2 fastball that became a home run. But after that, he settled down. Had a good breaking pitch today. A lot of swing and misses this afternoon as he kept these Guardians in the game. And he leaves with a tie score. Very impressive after that first two-run home run. How he pitched in and out of trouble.
So now Trevor Stephan will face Matt Carpenter, who comes off the bench to a rousing ovation to hit for the catcher Jose Trevino. Carpenter, whose career appeared to be over. He logged a lot of very fine seasons with the Cardinals, hit just 169 for them last year. They didn't re-sign him. Seemed like nobody wanted him. Went to AAA in the Rangers organization, regained his swing, asked for his release. The Yankees signed him, and he was almost Ruthian until he fractured a foot, fouling a ball off of it in August. He had 305 with 15 home runs in 128 at-bats. That's one every 8.5 times at bat. Was intent on coming back, looked like his season was over. Didn't play in the regular season after fracturing the foot in August, but here he is in October. Donaldson, who walked against Bieber, is at second. Kiner Falefa had a bloop single, is at first.
Aaron Boone asked if he's worried about Carpenter going long periods of time without an at-bat. He said no. Sat him for many times this year, 4, 5, 6 days. Always came out ready to hit.
The 1-1 pitch. Foul ball wide of first. In fact, when he arrived as a Yankee, they were in Tampa. Boone told us he walks into the clubhouse in street clothes, just introducing himself to his new teammates. Finds out, I think about Aaron Hicks that couldn't go that night, finds out he's in the starting lineup that night and promptly hits a home run. The 1-2, down and in.
Boy, that's two big picks from Hedges in this at bat alone. That would enable the runners to go to second and third. First one he blocked, this one he picks with a backhand. Almost hits the back foot of Carpenter.
It's the front foot that's still barking at him, but you don't need both of them to be in distress. Fouled away.
Stephan did a little bit of everything for this Guardians team. 6 wins, 3 saves, 19 holds, whatever they needed.
Two on, two out in a 2-2 game, and the 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Pulled the string on him and gets out of the jam. We played 6, still knotted at 2. With Carpenter having hit for Trevino, Kyle Higashioka is in the game back at the plate. Jonathan Loaisiga remains on the mound for the Yankees. Stephen Kwan starts it for the Guardians in the top of the 7th. Sellout crowd of 47,535. They were holding tickets for a Thursday night game. Now they're basking in the sunshine and a really good afternoon playoff game at Yankee Stadium. Slap to short. Kiner Falefa throws Kwan out. You can't bobble it for even a second with Kwan running. He gets down the line.
Flying.
That's Wandy Peralta, one of 2 lefties. Lucas Litke is the other in Aaron Boone's bullpen. Ahmed Rosario is 2 for 3. His homer in the 5th tied the game. In tight. To a certain extent, the shadows have moved beyond the pitcher's mound, but it's spotty. As you can see, there's an area between home plate and the mound that's still in sunshine. So it's still difficult for the hitters.
So shadows, the sunshine, the shadows.
Two-0 pitch in there. These days in baseball, a lot of times managers and pitching coaches have a script. This is my 7th inning guy. This is my 8th inning guy. This is my closer. That's still true when it comes to the closer for Terry Francona. That's classe. But for the Yankees now, it's based on matchups more than what inning it is once you get past the starter. That's in on his fist. Slow roller. IKF comes in. Flip on the run to Rizzo, and he gets it.
You know, Bob, you're so right. They call it like lanes. There's certain lanes that they want certain pitchers to pitch against. And Loaisiga is entrusted with pitching against the toughest hitters in the Guardians lineup.
And this guy overall is their toughest hitter. Not today, however. Speaking of Ramirez. Flied out, struck out, popped out against Cortez, who's kind of a nemesis for him. 0 for 10 in his career against the Yankee lefty. Now Loaisiga starts him with a strike. As we mentioned earlier, generally speaking, Ramirez is more dangerous from the left side, and that would especially be true in this ballpark.
We mentioned it when we came on the air before game 1. He's a perennial MVP. And if you follow this team, people will tell you all the time, every time they need a big hit, he usually delivers.
He's right around a 400 hitter for his career at Yankee Stadium. Loizaga's 1-1 pitch. Foul to the screen, 1-2. For the Yankees in the bottom of the 7th, Harrison Bader, Aaron Judge, who struck out all 3 times, then Anthony Rizzo. A little bloop, and IKF leaps to grab it. So Loizaga works a 1-2-3-7. They stretch at Yankee Stadium, and it's still a 2-2 game. Here's some of what's transpired so far as the fans settle back into their seats after the 7th inning stretch and the Yanks come up in a 2-2 game. Now let's go inside the booth. Actually, we've already been here for the entire game. We're welcoming you inside the booth. Ron and Bob, your thoughts, sir?
Well, I was thinking, and this is no surprise, Cleveland has to win this ball game. Bieber's put them in a position where they can take this game late. The only issue, most RBIs 7th inning or later, the Yankees with 262, leading that list, Aaron Judge with 55.
But Aaron Judge in this series thus far has not been Aaron Judge. Struck out 3 times in game 1. He struck out 3 times already in this one, and he's on deck as the bottom of the 7th begins. Tristan McKenzie, who will start tomorrow night at Progressive Field in game 3 for the Guardians, has been mic'd all day. Let's listen in.
Energy's different already. I can already tell. At a baby Steve. Baby Kwame. The baseball gods literally just look at us and be like, this is how it's supposed to be. And the boys are here.
Nothing not to like about his attitude. Soaking it all in, enjoying every second of it. And he'll have the ball tomorrow night. Harrison Bader, the hitter. Grounded out, flied out. His home run in game 1 was his first as a Yankee. When they traded the left-hander Jordan Montgomery to the Cardinals for him, and Montgomery, especially in his first several starts for the Cardinals, was very, very effective. Bader was injured, plantar fasciitis. Showed up with a walking boot. Only managed to play in 14 regular season games, but he's already shown in those 14 games and in game 1 here what he can do in center field, and if you make a mistake to him, what he can do with the bat.
You can understand the apprehension, though, of the Yankee fan that's watching Montgomery throw zeros in St. Louis, and the guy that was traded for him couldn't play yet. But boy, he rewarded Brian Cashman and the Yankees right away in postseason game 1.
Aaron Judge is going to get rewarded big time by somebody when he enters free agency soon. Smart money says it's still the Yankees' money that will keep him. But there's always at least a slim possibility that he could leave, which will lead to an offseason of anxiety for every one of the 47,000 in this ballpark and everybody around Yankee Nation. The 2-2 pitch from Stephan to Bader struck him out. Lauren has more on Bader and Montgomery. Lauren?
Well, Bob, there were questions about that trade, and Brian Cashman felt, hey, if Montgomery isn't getting a start in October, I'm replacing him with elite defense, and we've seen that from him. Cash loves his sprint speed, loves the jump he gets on the ball, says the second the ball is hit, watch him. He's already in motion. You can't teach instincts, and he's got them.
think also the challenging year for Aaron Hicks got to a point where he had to be replaced, and that's why the trade happened.
Judge struck out all 3 times against Bieber, and he swings and misses here against Stephan. Oh, and 2. It shouldn't be physical fatigue. The Yankees have played 1 game in the last 8 days. Emotional fatigue? Maybe. Something slightly off, or do we not allow people who do close to superhuman things to ever be human, to ever just have a slump that has no cosmic explanation beyond that?
It's a little different pitching in October than it is during the regular season.
Yeah, you're going to see the best.
Yep.
4 strikeouts for the afternoon.
Well, you said before, Bob, that Carl Willis, the pitching coach for the Guardians, said they are going to go after Judge. They're going to pitch him hard, and they're going to go after him. First 2 pitches by Stephan to Judge, 2 fastballs, bounce to breaking ball, and then a changeup, righty on righty, down and in for the strikeout.
Well, to quote Carl Willis once again, he said before the series, we will attack him. We'll attack him with respect, but we will attack him. It's worked out well so far for Willis's troops. 2 strikeouts by Stephan. Actually, Stephan has struck out the last 3 hitters he's faced. Carpenter batting for Trevino to end the 6th. And then Bader and Judge here in the 7th. Two and out to Rizzo with Torres on deck. As Judge trudged toward the dugout following his 4th strikeout, I heard just a few, just a smattering, but some boos. It's almost a sacrilege. I mean, come on. The 2-0 is in there.
That's what makes this bullpen of the Guardians so difficult to hit. 97 miles an hour, misses on 2 fastballs, 2-0, spins a little slider in for a strike.
And the 2-1. Evens the count. Much of the crowd didn't see it that way.
Perfect pitch by Stephan, right on the corner with the fastball. Can't make a better pitch than that.
It was Rizzo leaning over that misled the crowd. And the 2-2 pitch. Full count. Here's a bit of history. This is the 4th time that Aaron Judge has struck out 4 times in a postseason game. All of them against the Indians/Guardians. 3 times in the 2017 division series against Cleveland, games 1, 4, and 5. He went 1 for 20 in that series with 16 strikeouts. And that's a season in which he had 52 home runs, then a rookie record. So this is not unprecedented. And the payoff pitch. Struck out the side. So we go to the 8th. Still tied up at 2. Bader, Judge, Rizzo. Afternoon and this evening on FS1. When you're a wild card team and you go in the case of the Phillies against the defending world champions, in the case of the Padres against a team that won 111 games, pretty much beat you to a pulp head to head in the same division, and you get out of their ballpark with a split in a best-of-5 series, and now you got 2 at home, you got to be feeling pretty good. Here's a bloop into shallow right, and in comes Judge to make the catch to retire Gonzalez to start the Guardians' 8th.
What a play that was by Judge, and what a read. Had to come in from right field with the power hitting Gonzalez up, and makes the play with the stumbling Torres, who was not going to get it to it. Once he got turned around, it was only Judge's ball after that, and the outstretched arm with the 6'7" right fielder makes the play. That was the only hitter that Loaiza was going to face in this inning. Aaron Boone now will go to Wandy Peralta.
Left-handed hitter Josh Naylor, who hit 20 home runs during the regular season and is a threat in this ballpark. So it's logical that Peralta's coming in to face him. In the world, not necessarily people on camera here, but kind of a general they. Don't miss $1 Million Wheels, October 24th on TNT.
Who knows? They had a lot of gold there, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of bling. It may not be genuine bling, but nonetheless.
Too young to drive there.
Who cares that it's a school day? They'll remember this a lot longer than whatever they were talking about in class.
That's right.
How much did you spend for your first car?
$800.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I laid out $3 grand for a Ford Pinto.
Ford Galaxy was mine.
Yeah. Here's Naylor. 1 for 3 on the day, had an infield hit, and scored a run.
Wandy Peralta, you'll see a lot of him in this series if it goes deep. Good changeup, probably his signature pitch. But he kind of got better as the season went along for the Yankees. Got him on the quick pitch.
I'll say this for Naylor. He does not get shortchanged on his rips. He's like the whammer in The Natural, like Joe Don Baker. Wandy Peralta worked in game 1, but there have been 2 days since then, and he got 4 outs on only 8 pitches. Broken bat roller to the right side. Here's Torres with a backhand and a flip. Dandy play to retire Naylor.
What makes that play so difficult is that ranging far to your right to be able to get anything on the throw. And boy, he got plenty on that throw and made that real difficult play look difficult. Difficult play look easy. Pardon me. In his heyday, no one made that play better in a Yankee uniform than Robinson Cano.
Almost an underhand flip that was his signature on plays like that. Owen Miller now hasn't put a ball in play, struck out twice and walked. For the Yankees in the bottom of the 8th, Gleyber Torres, Giancarlo Stanton, Josh Donaldson. If Cleveland gets out of here with a split and Tristan McKenzie is anywhere near as good in game 3 here as he was in game 2 against Tampa Bay, the Yankees could find themselves in very tough shape come midnight Saturday.
They could flip this series, absolutely. But they have to get this game.
Yeah, that's step 1. In a best of 5, the complexion of the whole thing changes so much based on a single game. Miller strikes out. to the bottom of the 8th in a game that remains tied at 2. James Karinchak, who pitched a scoreless 8th in Game 1 on Tuesday night. Impressive stats in 2022.
Yeah, all his career best numbers. After the All-Star break, no one had more strikeouts, 52, than Karinchak.
The Guardians' bullpen has been just about untouchable so far in this postseason. Gleyber Torres has a pair of singles and 3 at-bats. He'll be followed by Stanton and Donaldson in the Yankee 8th. It's been a 2-2 game since the Rosario homer in the top of the 5th. Yanks led 2-0 after 1 on a Stanton home run. Haven't dented the scoreboard since then.
Stefan to get here to the 8th. Karinchak in there now. He does the best job of tunneling about as anyone in the game. Goes straight over the top. The fastball and curveball come out of the same spot. One stays true at 95 plus, and the other curveball, 12-6, just drops off the table.
And his 1-2 pitch to Torres. Fastball straight over the top at 96, and that finishes Gleyber.
That's what I was talking about before. Look at both these pitches coming to the hitter out of the same spot. One stays true, one drops off the earth. That fastball got by Torres. It's a cool customer. Watch him flipping the ball on the mound.
The last 5 Yankee hitters against Stefan and now Karinchak have all struck out. Here's Stanton, strike 1 to him. Compared to the Yankees, the Guardians may have, for the most part, a pea shooter type attack, but the strength of their pitching is nothing to overlook. Both starters and the deep and effective bullpen. Two and 1 to Stanton. Feast or famine for him, and that's nothing new. Homer and 2 strikeouts. Up high.
Stanton never moves, stays right in that box. That extremely closed stance. Spread wide, no leg kick, just strength.
Strength to spare in his case. Comes up empty, weak swing, fooled on the 3-1 pitch. Now the count is full. Every year, when they list the highest velocities off the bat, and there's like maybe 20 of them, about a dozen belong to Giancarlo Stanton. When he connects, he hits it very hard. No need to connect here. He walks with 1 out.
Runners at first and second with nobody out. 1 out there. Throw to second. On to first. The triple play to end it. Unbelievable.
Stanton is done for the day. Tim LeCastro, who they put on the postseason roster for this very reason, as a pinch runner. He replaces him at first.
Decent move there by Karinchak. But with that motion to the plate, slow to the plate, gives LeCastro a chance.
Decent lead, and he skips back. For the year, he's swiped 8 and been caught twice. Came to the Yanks from the Diamondbacks. Pitch out, but he stays put.
Something you rarely see.
I was thinking the same thing.
But he took a shot, did Terry Francona. Hedges has had 2 chances to throw. He's not had 2 good throws, needs one here.
He comes to the plate. Donaldson bluffs a bunt and takes ball 2. The pitch out is on the endangered species list, right?
Maybe with the bigger bases and everything next year. More stealing, more pitch outs.
Maybe. He's going now. Here's the throw. He beats it with a headlong dive. Has to lunge back. Almost came off the bag. Does exactly what Boone put him in the game to do.
A lot of pressure when you're on the roster for just this purpose, to pinch run and to steal a base, but he got a heck of a jump, and it was never going to be close. Just whether he held on to the second base bag,
and he did. Yeah, I thought for a moment he might have come off for a split second, but no, he held on. And now the 2-1 pitch to Donaldson, way high.
Gets by that front foot, holds the bag. Jimenez stays with him, though, just in case.
Donaldson sitting on a 3-1 pitch. And taking it inside for ball 4. A chance for the rookie Cabrera to play the hero. It's Carl Willis, the pitching coach, who goes to the mound, indicating that Karinchak will stay in. Now, you were talking about, and there's nobody up in the bullpen, which is more than an indication. It confirms it. You know, you were talking about how difficult it is when everybody knows you're in the game to steal a base. Dave Roberts wears number 30 in honor of Maury Wills, who passed away recently, and you can make a very good case that he belongs in the Hall of Fame. But Wills told Dave Roberts, the mark of a real base stealer is when everybody knows in a big game that you got to go and you got the guts to do it anyway. And Roberts was thinking about that for the Red Sox against Mariano Rivera when he ran for Kevin Millar in Game 4 in 2004 at Fenway Park with the Red Sox down 3-0, stole the base, wound up scoring the tying run. Red Sox win it in extra innings on an Ortiz home run, come back off the mat, down 0-3 to win the LCS and then sweep the Cardinals in the World Series.
Maury, inspiration indeed.
So here's Cabrera now. Hentges is the left-hander. Clase is perhaps the best closer in the game right now. Up in the 8th inning. 1-1.
I was saying before that Karinchak flipping that ball to relieve the nerves, and there's plenty of them here in the bottom of the 8th.
Two balls and a strike. LeCastro, who ran for Stanton and stole second, is at second. Donaldson, who walked, is at first. And Cabrera cuts and misses to even the count.
You saw there that Karinchak's fastball up in the strike zone has more life. That ball jumped right by Cabrera.
Kiner Falefa is on deck. Cabrera fouls it off.
A lot of speed in that Guardians outfield defense. Told you before when we did the defense that Stephen Kwan in left field, 9 outfield assists, 17 defensive runs saved for Straw in center, and Gonzalez with a big arm in right field.
Sliced foul. Battling at bat for Cabrera.
There you go.
Good group.
I said 9, 8 outfield assists for Stephen Kwan.
Another 2-2 pitch coming. Full count. The 3-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Big strikeout for Karinchak.
Well, it's awfully hard as a young player to be patient enough on a 3-2 pitch to take this one out of the strike zone. Cabrera went after it, came up empty.
And with 2 on and 2 out, it brings up Kiner Falefa. Over the last 3 innings, Kiner Falefa's bloop single in the 6th is the only ball the Yankees have put in play. Everything else, walks or strikeouts. That's a dozen at-bats and only 1 ball put in play. Castro with the potential go-ahead run at second base. Karinchak glances at him, then brings it home. Misses outside. The Yankees pinch hit for Trevino. Carpenter struck out. He's gone. Higashioka's in the game. Where Castro uses a pinch runner. They're down to 2 guys now on the bench. Pop back and out of play. Those 2 guys are both switch hitters. Marwin Gonzalez and Aaron Hicks. Just in case this goes on for a while, and keep in mind again for casual fans who basically check in during the postseason, no ghost runner in the playoffs or World Series. No guy on second base starting in the 10th inning.
Got to watch the right side here. If you're Karinchak against Kiner Falefa, he'll do anything with 2 strikes to try to punch that ball the other way. That's why the infield is playing straight up, no shift.
The 1-2 pitch. Blocked by Hedges.
That is the best block you're ever going to see. The ball bounced, what, before the plate? And still caught it in his left shoulder. Left chest. What a play by Hedges. Textbook.
Inside, full count. Higashioka's on deck. Castro and Donaldson will be on the move. Karinchak steps off.
Might have rethought about the pitch he wants to throw. Does he have the guts enough to throw that breaking ball 3-2?
This is Karinchak's first inning, and he's about to unleash his 29th pitch. On 3-2. Walked him. Bases loaded. And this is the kind of situation where you don't fool around. He wants Clase. Not going to wait until he has a lead. Not going to wait until the 9th. He wants his best right now with the bases loaded. Clase coming in, and we're coming back. Assessors on. Aaron Judge, a day he'd like to forget, at least at this point. Juan, Peralta, Karinchak, not exactly his day. Couldn't find the plate for much of his inning. And now it's Clase, who has inherited exactly one runner all year. Here, he inherits 3.
Usually like to start him at an inning, but all of his numbers this year are first in all major categories in baseball.
Had a 4-out save in Game 1 against Tampa Bay in the wild card series, and then pitched a scoreless 9th in Game 2. Faced 7 batters in that series, retired them all. Triple-digit fastballs no longer are cause for a parade. They're, if not commonplace, certainly not that out of the ordinary in baseball. But when you throw around a 100-mile-per-hour cutter, which he does, that's something else for someone like Higashioka to deal with.
Cutter and sliders from Clase.
Higashioka's first at-bat of the postseason, swings and misses. He swung a very hot bat in the second half of the season, especially in September. Clase started him with the slider. And quickly gets ahead of him 0-2. Back-to-back sliders. So now, what's Higashioka thinking? He's got me in an 0-2 hole. Am I looking for slider again? Am I looking cutter?
He is in emergency stance.
Yes, he is. The 0-2 pitch. Line drive, but right at Ramirez. Made good contact, but the inning ends. And it's still a 2-2 game. Beautiful day for baseball in the Bronx. Which team is going to feel like it was a beautiful day when they board the flight for Cleveland later on? That's what remains to be seen as we go to the 9th. Andres Jimenez, bottom of the order here. Jimenez, Hedges, and Straw, but this guy is the guy who can hurt you. 17 home runs during the regular season. In this game, he struck out, had an RBI single, and then walked and stole a base. Wandy Peralta remains in the game for the Yankees. Jimenez appeared to be taking all the way. A ball and a strike. Clay Holmes, who was, for the first half season plus, just about untouchable for the Yankees, as Jimenez strikes out against Peralta, or he got a tiny piece of it. Got a tiny piece of it, and Higashioka couldn't hold on, so he stays alive. Holmes is now up in the Yankee bullpen. Through the All-Star break, his ERA was about a half run a game. Then he faltered a bit. Then he had a shoulder problem. Now he's back. But at what level of effectiveness? That remains to be seen.
Well, Aaron Boone said after his performance in Game 1, they checked in with him the next day. He said he felt 100%.
And in his case, where there's still maybe some tenderness, having 2 days off, one scheduled and then the rainout, doesn't hurt. Another 1-2 pitch. 2-2. And now he goes down swinging. And let's see if the call goes out to Holmes. Yes, it will.
That good changeup from Peralta. He's been on point the last half of this season, and retires Jimenez.
So Boone got what he wanted from Peralta. Now we'll hand it over to Holmes. Late afternoon drama at Yankee Stadium. More to come. Outfield mates Bader and Cabrera as the sunlight comes streaming through the facade onto the outfield portion of the diamond and the ball field at Yankee Stadium. Clay Holmes to the mound. Those numbers look good. They were fantastic until late July.
One of the few pitchers in baseball who has a swing and miss sinker ball when it's right. Sinker, slider, two pitches you'll see from Holmes.
Will Brennan now will pinch hit for the catcher Austin Hedges. He had just 45 plate appearances this year, and as you see, he did very well. He had a pinch hit at bat in Game 1 and grounded out. "17 Guardians made their major league debut this year. Several of them are on the postseason roster. In the case of some of their hitters, fewer than 50 or 60 plate appearances in the big leagues, but here they are in October. Went around, says Alan Porter.
See the replay on this. Didn't have to call it.
Yeah, he went for sure. Not even close. Holmes 1-1 pitch. That's Jamison Tyone, normally a starter. Could have been their starter in Game 5 and might still be if it turns into a bullpen game, kind of a mix and match thing if this series goes that far. The outcome this afternoon will go a long way to determining how likely that is. The 1-2 struck him out. In the middle to late innings of this game on both sides, balls in play have been scarce. Lots of walks, lots of strikeouts.
Here's that sinker, two-seamer running away from Brennan. You're probably asking why is Tyone up if Holmes is here to get these two outs. Starting pitcher needs more time to get loose.
And also, if this game goes extra innings, might be able to stay in a bit longer. Another lusty Bronx cheer greets Miles Straw as he comes to the plate. We've explained both in Game 1 and today the reason why. 1-1 the count to Straw, who's 0 for 3 today, was 1 for 4 in game 1. Slider gets Holmes ahead on the count 1-2. Two and two to Straw with 2 out and nobody on in the top of the 9th. Deuces have been wild this entire game. It's been 2-2 for a while. Seems like there's always 2 men on base. A lot of 2-2 counts. And Holmes brings it home. Straw gets a piece of it. Spike Lee in his usual seat. In good position to give some of his favorite Yankees a piece of his mind. Leaning over into the dugout. Hoping they will do the right thing and rally in the 9th and finish this one off. Another 2-2 pitch. Full count. Stephen Kwan hoping for his chance next. A 2-out walk, and it will bring Kwan to the plate. By the way, you want to talk about childhood memories? Could there be anything better? Your dad or your mom says, nah, don't worry about school. Game 2 was supposed to be last night, and we had the tickets. We're going to the ballpark. We're going to the ballpark. And on Monday, when you go back to school, you'll have a lot to tell your classmates about. Yeah, you can take your glove just in case.
You'll be the hero.
Straw can run. Stole 21, was thrown out only once during the regular season. Kwan had a bunt single to start the game. Overall, he's 1 for 4.
So one of the things for Holmes in the second half, once he went through his troubles and arm injuries, lost the strike zone occasionally. Blowing on his hand in the shade, a little cooler than maybe it is for Harrison Bader in the sunshine and center.
But you can see Bader out there even before the pitch, shading his eyes. That's no picnic out there when the ball gets up in the air.
He's got the shades on.
One pitch to Kwan, down and in. I'm kind of surprised that Straw hasn't tried to run. If he's thrown out, you've got the top of your order, fresh count for Straw if they can push it to the 10th. If he's successful, single could put them ahead.
21-22 this year. This is the time to go. It was the time to go. Should be going here.
Let's see. Not going. Hit hard, and it gets by Rizzo. Straw winds up at third. Kwan at first. tough chance. Normally Rizzo makes that play.
Holding on the runner at first, ball hit extremely hard, but usually a play you would think Rizzo kind of an in-between hop and try to catch it before it got there, and it went right off the heel of his glove.
E3, first error for either team. And a chance for Rosario, who tied the game with a homer in the 5th, to play the hero for the Guardians here in the 9th.
I think Rizzo had that play to make over again. Kind of would have shifted in front of it if he could have taken it off his body. Just
because if he had and kept it in front of him, they get the out.
It's an easy out. He's got such great hands. He probably just figured he could just get the glove out there. One more half step, moving his body over, would have got him fully in front of it. You know, in that circumstance, you're not coming way off the back because you don't want the ball to go behind you for a double and score a straw. So you're only coming off the base one footstep or one step, half a step.
So the pitching coach, Matt Blake, has counseled Holmes, who now works to Rosario. A chopper toward third. Donaldson has it, fires to Rizzo, and they're out of it. The Guardians lead 2. And it will be Bader. And then Judge, who has struck out 4 times, and Rizzo in the bottom of the 9th. In the top of the 9th, so Luke Maile is the new catcher. Emmanuel Clase remains in the game. And Harrison Bader leads it off in the bottom of the 9th. He's 0 for 3.
When you talk about his cutter, he's not trying to cut it. It's just a natural movement.
At 100.
And his fastball at 100.
Hey! 0-2. The slider at 92. So he was not attempting to learn a cutter. They've just renamed his fastball a cutter because it cuts. Is that right?
Yes. For all the folks charting pitches, they need something.
Yeah.
To hang their hat on.
And his 0-2 pitch to Bader. Did he go? Yep. Finishes him on 3 pitches.
Well, the bat went through the zone. For Bader, he was just at the last minute really trying to get out of the way.
And now Aaron Judge. 4 game-ending or walk-off hits in this season. Likely MVP season for him. In this series so far, 0 for 7, all strikeouts plus a walk. 4 at-bats, 4 strikeouts today. An American League and, of course, Yankee record, 62 home runs during the season. The 1-0 from Clase. A ball and a strike. Stanton's homer in the first is all the Yankees scoring. A 2-run shot. They haven't lit the scoreboard up since. Judge bounces it foul. Clase for the season pitched to an ERA of 1.36 and had 42 saves. And his 1-2 pitch to Judge. Down and away, 2-2.
Clase does enough inside with that fastball to set up that breaking ball away. It's a sequence of pitches so far, and this at bat to Judge.
The 2-2. A high pop back of the plate and out of play.
Got a pitch to hit there. Rare mistake from Clase.
And we were discussing this with Aaron Boone before the game. It seems to us that Judge is missing more of the pitches he used to crush throughout the regular season, in the latter stages of the regular season, and so far in these 2 playoff games. Another 2-2 pitch from Clase to Judge. Bounce to third. Ramirez has it. Judge made contact, but now he's 0 for 5. In the latter stages of the home run chase, he was amazingly disciplined. Never chased anything outside the zone. Took his walks. But throughout the season, when you made a mistake, especially up, he crushed it. Actually, anywhere in the zone that he could get to it. When you hit 62 home runs, you're hitting a lot of pitchers that are in the strike zone out of the park. Of late, he's missed or fouled back a lot of pitches he had been hitting with authority during the year.
The wear and tear of this season mentally is one that only a few have ever had to go through.
Rizzo now 0 for 2 with a pair of walks. Hit 32 home runs during the season. Had one in game 1 of this series. If this game goes to the 10th, what does Francona, in consultation with Willis, do with Clase? This is a game they have to have. A regular season, you'd say that's enough. Can you afford to do that in this game? One and 2.
Workload not bad for Clase so far, only 15 pitches.
Which is a factor. Another question would be, if the game's still tied bottom of the 10th, does that change anything, as opposed to if they scored in the top of the 10th and he was just trying to save it instead of extend it. Line drive over the leaping Rosario for a base hit. 2-out single for Rizzo, and it gives Gleyber Torres a chance. That was Jose Ramirez on the shift. He was the only fielder on the left side with the shift on.
Good try by Ramirez, almost snagged it.
In the shortstop's position. He's only 5'9". Maybe Rosario would have caught it. Here's Torres. Smacks it through the middle, but it's taken there back of the bag by Jimenez, who shovels it over to Rosario. And that's that for the Yankees in the 9th. On to the 10th inning in a 2-2 game. Started this game a little bit after 1 o'clock. Now moving up on 5 p.m. And Jamison Tyone, a starter much of the year. In fact, exclusively a starter, comes out of the bullpen.
82 starts with the Pittsburgh Pirates, 61 with the Yankees, 143 total, He's never pitched out of the bullpen. He's never pitched in the postseason.
A pair of firsts for him. De Los Santos gets up in the Cleveland bullpen. Now, Clase has thrown only 17 pitches. My gut is that you send him back out for the 10th. Beyond that, no.
Yeah, well, with someone warming up, it lets me know or makes me feel as though they take the lead. Maybe Clase does pitch the next inning. But if it's tied, De Los Santos comes in.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to in the last inning. With the lead, you let him close it out. Ramirez starts it. He's 0 for 4. Had a couple of hits in game 1.
Taillon had a heck of a year this year, 14-5 and 32 starts, but it's the unknown of never being out there, out of the pen, and now in the postseason.
His 2-0 pitch to Ramirez is taken for a strike. Clark Schmidt now in the Yankee bullpen. Pop up left side, coming in Cabrera, going out Donaldson, and it's going to drop. Ramirez sprints to second. They throw it away. He's on his way to third, and he dives in there. As Mel Allen might say, how about that? A bloop that Cabrera almost caught. Ramirez hustling all the way, and this is typical of him and the Guardians. Hustling out of the box. Made second easily, and then the throw got away, and he winds up on third with nobody out.
Well, he knew right away that it was trouble because he was sprinting out of the box, and that's why he ended up getting the double. And then when the throw went by the second baseman Torres, he was able to proceed to third base and got under the throw from Rizzo.
Double E5. Ramirez led the league with 44 doubles this year. The Yankees pull the infield in. And Gonzalez swings and misses.
Well, a couple errors here in the last 2 innings by the Yankees defense. Good hustle, but the shift, the shortstop's never going to get there. Cabrera almost got it in the end of his glove, and it was Donaldson who made the errant throw to second base.
0-2. Josh Naylor is on deck. Almost got him. But Gonzalez spun away.
They're trying to check that because they're saying that it was a foul ball off the bat. They're thinking maybe it might have clipped him. No. Foul ball. Catches the bat.
Yep. Again on 0-2. Down and away.
Oh, Taillon, first time out there in the post, first time out of relief, out of the bullpen, pop up, got a man on third.
Foul back.
Gonzalez, the hero in game 2 against the Tampa Bay Rays in extra innings.
Homer off the 2-time Cy Young Award winner and former Cleveland Indian then, Corey Kluber. The 1-2 pitch. Another little bloop, and this could be trouble. It will drop, and the Guardians have the lead. No hard contact, but the hard truth for the Yankees is they trail 3-2.
with the infield in, the softest of hits by Gonzalez. Good, nasty breaking pitch from Tyone. Puts the ball in play. We said that these Guardians were going to do that. They've done it all season long. Never know what happens when you put it in play, and no way for Rizzo to get to it.
Naylor's the hitter.
It goes back to the hustle by Ramirez, who was told by his manager, spring training, play with your pants on fire. You'll inspire these young players. Well, that was a great example of it.
It won't be Tyone's fault, but right now he stands to be the loser. Pair of bloop hits to greet him. And now I'm thinking, no matter what's happening in the Cleveland bullpen, Clase gets the ball in the bottom of the 10th with the lead.
Get quiet in here, Bob.
About as quiet as 47,000 plus can be. It's one of the worst things that's ever happened in this kid's life to this point. But it's not over yet, kid. A ball and a strike to Naylor. He's 1 for 4. Had an infield hit in the 4th. Inside. And there's some Cleveland representation in the ballpark. And I imagine there will be some Yankee fans at Progressive Field. Spike Lee's mood has taken a turn for the worse. If, underline if, several times, if Cleveland gets out of here with a win, the Yankees clearly over the course of the season were the better team. But Francona's bunch finished 24-6 down the stretch, then won the 2 games against Tampa. They will have reduced this to a best 2 out of 3 with the first 2 games in their ballpark. All of a sudden, your whole season is on the brink if you're the Yankees. And if you're Cleveland, without underestimating them, you're playing with house money. It's the Yankees who have more on the line.
But if you're the Guardians right now, all you're thinking of, score more. Yes, you push to go ahead and run across. Make it a big inning.
Gonzalez was running as Naylor tops it foul. Luis Severino will get the ball in game 3 for the Yanks. In his last outing, he threw 7 no-hit innings against the Rangers in Texas. And Aaron Boone took him out just as a precaution, even though the no-hitter was still intact. Tristan McKenzie will oppose him.
Hard luck record for McKenzie.
Oh yeah, a lot better than that record indicates, as he showed in game 2 against the Rays. Gonzalez runs again. Naylor rips it foul. Nice play down the right field line by the ball person. Is the proper terminology now ball attendant? What the heck?
I stay away from all that stuff.
Yeah, you probably should. I wandered down the dark alley, but now I'm making a U-turn and coming back.
There you go.
Gonzalez runs again on the 3-2 pitch, which is whacked into right center field. On the run is Bader. It's over his head. And one hop against the wall. Gonzalez being waved home. And just as you said, Ron, they will add more. A couple of bloops started this rally. That was a blast. The Naylor double makes it 4-2.
3 times in a row they had Gonzalez running on a 3-2 count, being aggressive, and pays off with Naylor with this line drive to right center field. Bader looked like he lost it off the bat, and it goes over his head. He hits the cutoff man, and Gonzalez stops at second base. So that's the only reason that there was maybe a play at home. But the hustle and the send by Mike Sarbaugh, and the 4th run for the Guardians.
It's an odd read by Gonzalez. No harm done. He winds up scoring anyway. Rosario's pumped. Tyone is done. Clark Schmidt coming in. 4-2 Guardians. An error sent him to third. Oscar Gonzalez, bloop single, made it 3-2. Josh Naylor, long double to right center, makes it 4-2. Exit Tyone, enter Schmidt, making his first postseason appearance.
See, Clark,
look at Rizzo.
First postseason appearance for Schmidt, and Rizzo is taking away the bunt.
This is Keith Hernandez-like, if we can get a shot of it. Now he's backing up after Miller swings and misses. But he was 2/3 of the way from first base to home plate. He's backed up now. Now he's starting to creep forward again.
2 runs up, no reason to play for the bunt.
But he was on the first pitch.
Yep.
Here's a little tap that may serve as a bunt. Donaldson to Rizzo. They get him at first. Same outcome.
The swinging bunt. Good play by Donaldson. Well, he's pinched in, playing even with the base. That makes it a little easier for him to make this play, but the throw on the run had to be true, and it was. I think what you're seeing in this inning with the bullpen for the Yankees is they lack maybe the depth they had earlier in the season with Michael King. Of course, Aroldis Chapman didn't make the roster, and that's why Tyone, a starting pitcher, had to start the inning.
King and Holmes were lights out. First part of the season. Infield comes in now. Jimenez at the plate. Ripped foul. Now you don't want to get too cute, but suppose they tack on another run here. Do you want Clase to come out with a 3-run lead? You certainly would with a 1 or 2 run lead. A 3-run lead, knowing that there are no off days. You might need him again tomorrow night.
That's definitely it depends on how much confidence you have in De Los Santos, of course.
Tap back toward the mound. High throw, Rizzo snares it. And Naylor has to remain at third. First at bat now for Luke Maile, who replaced Austin Hedges behind the plate after Brennan batted for Hedges in the 9th. Maile hit .221 for the year. So Jimenez had a chance to give the Guardians a little more breathing room with a man at third and only 1 out. Didn't get it done with the comebacker. And now it's up to Maile. 2-1. Study hall for Jose Ramirez. Spirits are high now in the Guardian dugout. And the 2-1 to Maley is squibbed to the right side. Rizzo fields. Schmidt covers. The Guardians score 2. They leave 1. They take a 4-2 lead to the bottom of the 10th in Game 2.
What an inning for the Guardians. The hustle by Ramirez on the ball that just drops in front of Cabrera. Gets the second, the errant throw, and he's on to third base. And then another just soft hit to right field with Gonzalez. 5 of the 9 hits for the Guardians this afternoon have come with 2 strikes. That was an 8-pitch at bat to Naylor with Gonzalez running, being aggressive. That scores the 4th run for the Guardians. And what an inning.
So now it's up to Clase to nail it down. The most pitches he has thrown in any single outing this year is 23. He's thrown 17 in this game to this point. Tim LaCastro ran for Giancarlo Stanton and assumed his DH spot, and he will lead it off in the 10th. They have Aaron Hicks and Marwin Gonzalez left on the bench. Both switch hitters. If this was a 1-run game, you might send Hicks up. Home run power in this ballpark. Now they let LaCastro bat, hoping he can get on and bring the tying run to the plate.
Yeah, be a table setter.
Josh Donaldson is on deck. There's Hicks in the Yankee dugout. Cabrera will follow Donaldson. Almost hit him. Would it be such a bad idea to let it hit you?
I haven't been hit with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Have you?
No. I have to concede that point. The 2-1 pitch. A drive to left center field. Kwan calling and taking it. The Yankees and the team now called the Guardians have an interesting and fairly deep postseason history that goes back to the 90s. We won't detail it here, but most of those series have been eventful and memorable. And if Cleveland closes this game out, this could be another entry to that list. No matter what the outcome is, ultimately, it could get very interesting with 2 more outs. Donaldson's 0 for 2 with a pair of walks.
Interesting to watch. Clase loves to live on the inside corner to right-handed hitters early in the count.
That was his 23rd pitch, matching his season high. Three and 0. Likely to be taking all the way. That was the case. Plate splitting strike at 99. Shane Bieber started it. This game is now more than 4 hours old. And the Yankees haven't scored in about 3 hours and 45 minutes. That's ball 4. He would have been on first whether it hit him or not. Third walk for Donaldson in this game. It brings up Cabrera, who's 0 for 4. He has some pop. He hit 6 home runs in limited duty after coming up from the minor leagues. Big spot for the rookie. Ball 1.
And you're taking players, pitchers, and pushing them beyond what they've seen all season long. What's your outcome? You don't know.
No one throwing in either bullpen. One and one. Swings through it. 1 and 2. It's the cutter or the slider. You know it's one or the other. Slider that time. Strikes him out. Cleveland 1 out away from evening this series. 3 strikeouts today for Cabrera as part of an 0 for 5 afternoon.
They pitched him mostly up in the strike zone. 3 punch outs now for Cabrera, 14 for the Yankees this afternoon.
Kiner Falefa has a pair of singles and a walk. Hit 4 home runs during the season. Higashioka is on deck. .100-mile-per-hour cutter is pitch number 32 from Class A and puts them 1 strike away from getting off the deck in a 1-0 deficit in games, a 2-0 deficit on the scoreboard, to pull even heading back home. A bouncer charging is Jimenez. He flips to first. Ball game. The Guardians earned this one. They come out of the Bronx with a split. So far in this postseason, Cleveland's bullpen against the Rays and the Yankees has logged 17 2/3 scoreless innings.
Well, you got to give a lot of credit to Shane Bieber as well. 2-run home run in the first to Giancarlo Stanton, and then kept it there and gave the Guardians a chance to come back in this game in the top of the 10th. What was the difference?
Among the questions Terry Francona will be asked before Game 3, what can you get out of Clase, since he threw more than 30 pitches to nail this one down?
At least in Game 3, you won't be with your back up against the wall.
Right.
You've won this game, and now you've made it a series.
It's Clase who gets the win. Tyone is tagged with the loss.
And you're going back to your home ballpark.
Coming into this game, the Yankees had won 6 out of 7 head-to-head against the Guardians this year. And they took a 2-0 lead on the Stanton homer in the bottom of the first. But these Guardians are a scrappy group. And they're intent on making it a series. And they took a huge step in that direction this afternoon. Severino against McKenzie. As you can see, that 11-11 does not really indicate how good McKenzie has been this year and how good he was in Game 2 of the wild card series against the Rays. Good day for these Cleveland fans.
Yeah.
They come to the ballpark. They're treated reasonably hospitably, it seems, by the Yankee rooters. Their team gets a win, and not this guy with the old school Indians gear, but the other kids we were looking at got a couple of baseballs tossed to them by their heroes. Look at this. Détente. Yankee fan congratulates the Cleveland fan on today's victory. Let's go down to Lauren with Josh Naylor.
Josh, congratulations. 8 pitches in the 10th. Walk me through it. What were you trying to do?
Just put the ball in play, hit it something solid. He's a good pitcher, and I just had to wait him out. I think our game plan that inning was just to get runners on base, just to move them any way we could, and I got a good enough pitch to drive, and thank God that I did. And it kind of all started with Hosey, though. Hosey's base running, and it's credit to him. That's the only reason we got that run there.
I saw you watch the ball off the bat for a while. Did you know it was over his head? Did you know it was going to score Oscar?
I mean, I hit it, and I was kind of just reading his route. And it looked to me like he kind of took a little bit of a wrong route to it, so that's why it fell. I was kind of shocked because he's a really good outfielder. But yeah, no, I'm just thank God for that it dropped. Thank God for Hosey's effort out there, and it's a good team win. Good pitching all around. Good team defense today, and it was an awesome time.
Split series, heading back home with Tristan on the mound. How does that sound?
That's great. We trust everyone we got. We're excited to go back home to our fans, and we're going to bring the same energy we bring every day.
Josh, thank you.
Thanks.
Bob.
Thanks, Lauren. So the final score in 10, the Guardians win it and even the series 4-2. And we head to Cleveland for Game 3 tomorrow night on TBS. Coming up next, we'll send it to our Atlanta studio for the MLB postseason closer show. Carlos Correa is back for more, along with Ernie Johnson, Jimmy Rollins, Pedro Martinez, and Curtis Granderson. For Ron Darling and Lauren Shahadi and the rest of our crew, Bob Costa saying so long from the Bronx. You've been watching the postseason on TBS, exclusive home of the American League Championship Series. This division series is tied at 1. We'll see you tomorrow night from Progressive Field in Cleveland.